What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Playing It Soccer podcast. I'm your host, Reed Simpson, along with my co-host, Dylan Wilcox. We are officially 31 days away from this year's World Cup in Qatar. Dylan, the weather's changing. It's getting colder. It does not feel like we're coming up on a World Cup tournament, but alas, here we are.
Yeah, we're like in the midst of pumpkin spice and cider and captain or cider and fireball, whatever your fancy is, and we're getting ready for a World Cup. It feels a little weird, but I'm looking forward to it. I think having it over the holiday season will be kind of cool. We'll get into like some of the matches we're looking forward to most, but I think for most Americans, getting the England match on Black Friday is definitely exciting. So it's weird. I think for the quality of football we'll see because of the timing, might not love it, but as a fan, as weird as it is, there's definitely some positives to take from it.
Yeah, I think the vibe, we'll use the word vibe, it's going to be different. It's going to be real different. You know, when I picture watching World Cups growing up in high school, you know, it was in the gym during 2-a-days while we were lifting. We would, watch it between sets and with friends during the summer at the pool, whatever. I've always associated it with summer. So to kind of switch that mentality and have it associated with Thanksgiving leftovers, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just one of those things where we're getting old and we don't like cheating. So, and then as obviously club soccer fans, which if you're not a soccer fan, the key to really getting into the sport is to start following club soccer, because that's pretty much year round. It's much more than just once every 4 years. But this year's event is the 22nd rendition of the World Cup 22 in 2022. For those of you who like stuff like that, 22 and 22. The games will be broadcast on Fubo TV, Fox, and Telemundo. So here in the States, we'll be able to watch it on Fox. There are really storylines galore in this one. The big one, the elephant in the room, the two arguably top two, top three, top four, two of the greatest players of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, potentially their last. I think Messi's come out and said this will for sure be his last, which is obviously disappointing to us, knowing that the next World Cup will be coming to the States. A bunch of other players similar. Thiago Silva, probably his last center back for Brazil. Luka Modric for Croatia, Ivan Perisic for Croatia, maybe Benzema's last with France.
Lewa, probably.
Yeah, potentially Lewandowski with Poland. So the big storylines coming in is this the last of that generation coming through in the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like it is. Like you said, as an American fan, it is a shame that this will be Messi's last World Cup. Ronaldo, at this point, I couldn't care less. I strongly believe it will probably be his last World Cup too, with all of the hoopla surrounding him at Man United right now. For those of you not aware, pretty much walked off the pitch in like the 85th minute when they were trying to sub him on. So I think he is going to see his career quickly deteriorate. So I kind of anticipate this being the last for both of them, and kind of the last of that generation, which is certainly a shame with it coming to the U.S. next year. But I think 3-4 years from now, not that we'll forget Messi or we'll forget Ronaldo, but we'll just be so excited to have the World Cup here, and there will be so many new emerging stars that I think, while it is a shame, I think we'll be fine. I don't think it'll hurt like
There's no shortage of talent throughout.
Exactly. I don't think it'll hurt like the marketability. 4 years from now, Erling Haaland's going to be a legend, though, so we just need them to qualify, and we'll have the new legends present at the American World Cup.
Help.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the groups in depth here in a little bit. We're going to kind of just start recording them after we do this. So I'll go ahead and run through the federations, give you guys the participants from CONMEBOL, which is the South America Conference, essentially. Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, and Uruguay. From UEFA, which is Europe, Belgium, Croatia, Denmark, England, France, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Serbia, Spain, Switzerland, and Wales. Wales making their, I believe, second ever appearance in the World Cup. From Africa, from AFCON, we've got Cameroon, Ghana, Morocco, Senegal, and Tunisia. And from Asia, we've got Australia, Iran, Japan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea. Lastly, from CONCACAF, good old CONCACAF, we've got the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Costa Rica. And Russia is banned from this World Cup, so they did not get the chance to compete in order to qualify. So that's the rundown of the teams. As I said, we'll get into the groups pretty in depth here coming up in the next few episodes. Dylan, what else? What do we want to leave them with for this kind of World Cup intro to put you on the spot here? I'm obviously looking forward to Black Friday football, Black Friday European World Football, I guess I should say, and really making my family watch it.
Right.
We're all going to sit down as a family, and we're going to watch England and the U.S. And my cousin is not going to want to do that. But Brandon, we're watching that soccer game.
So yeah, I'm kind of lucky. So the Black Friday, we always do like a mini Thanksgiving part 2 with Abby's side of the family, and brother-in-law is a big soccer fan. Abby's mom will watch any sport ever. Abby grew up playing soccer, so we will have no shortage of interest in that Black Friday match. But it is going to be something that I'm really excited for. My Midwest American friends that don't like soccer, kind of getting them into it again. I kind of started reeling a couple of them in with Euros, as a lot of, probably all of our listeners and a lot of people know I'm pretty big into the gambling side of soccer. And I was sending out my picks every morning, and people were tailing them, and I had a really successful Euro. So I started getting people in that way. And a couple of them have like loosely picked up the Premier League, but the World Cup is such a great exposure time. And I think that is a unique part about another positive, unique part about this time of year. You'll have a lot of people sitting at home with the family, just throw something on. And if you see USA while you're scrolling the guide, even if you're some stereotypical redneck American football fan, you see USA, you're probably going to throw it on. You might watch some soccer, and it's a chance to get exposure that way. It's also a chance to get exposure in the club game, I think, from the people that do strictly watch the World Cup. And then typically World Cup ends and you have a month and a half, 2 months until meaningful football again. And we'll jump into it within a couple of weeks this year. So I think that's another cool exposure opportunity for the game, especially growing in the U.S. And then one other layer on top of that is just the anticipation of us hosting in 2026. So I think there are a lot of positives to take away from it. Yes, we're seeing some legends leave. Yes, it's in a funky time of year. Doesn't quite feel natural. Isn't quite the friendliest for our clubs. But there are definitely some positives to take away from the time of year that we're seeing this World Cup for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I hadn't even thought about it in this way when you said it's a chance for those World Cup fans to continue on the momentum and keep watching the game after, because we, on Boxing Day, I think it's Boxing Day would be the first game back, which is the day after Christmas, the December 26th,
which is like
games.
The biggest day in the EPL for those of you that don't know. Like it's one of them.
It's like Thanksgiving Day.
Exactly.
It's like Thanksgiving Day football, American football for us in the state. So if you get high on that World
which
Cup
you will,
fever and you want to keep,
you will,
and you want to keep watching the sport, pick a club and get into it.
I think it'll be a really cool opportunity for people to find a club that they like too by watching the World Cup. Like, sure, you're going to see people wowed by, the Messis or the Mbappes that don't play necessarily
Harry Kane's
Premier. Well, they're going to be knocked out in the round of 16, so you're not going to see them for very long. But yeah, sure, we can go with the English guys too. But you're going to see like some players that you really enjoy and maybe be under talked about or underappreciated and be able to adopt a team that way. Like the U.S. makes a run, I see Leeds getting very hot and popular in the U.S. So there is a lot of opportunity for exposure for kind of those fringe fans or new fans to latch onto a team, and it'll be an exciting time for sure.
Yeah, so before we wrap this episode up, I'm going to just run down with a few kind of not fast facts, but just kind of things about this tournament, starting with the defending champs, France. They are the defending world champs. There's a curse, if you will, with the previous winner having not gotten out of the group for the past handful of World Cups. I want to say at least the last 3 or 4. So,
Yeah, I think the last one might have been
France,
Brazil in 06, I believe.
in 06. So France has all the talent in the world, just as much talent as they had in 2018, if not more. They should absolutely get out of their group, so it would be a shock to see that trend continue. But we'll see. The biggest team missing in this tournament is Italy. They've shockingly failed to qualify for the World Cup.
Thanks.
After being upset by North Macedonia at home in March.
Thanks.
But they won the Euro tournament.
We did.
So it's like the European World Cup.
It was a pretty big deal. It was a pretty big deal. I haven't looked this up, and I probably should have in preparation, knowing you would mention Italy to just twist the knife a little bit more. But I should have looked up the last time somebody.
It's noteworthy.
It is noteworthy.
As a host, I have an obligation.
It is noteworthy. I do kind of wonder, and I'm sure it's not too hard to find the last time a Euro winner didn't qualify for the subsequent World Cup. Because I'm guessing maybe when we cover a group that is heavily European influence, we'll pull up that fact and touch on that, or maybe right before the tournament. But that's kind of interesting to me, because Euros is arguably one of the hardest. Like you can pull get lucky in a way and pull a decently easy World Cup draw to get to the semis, and then you just got to win 2 games, and at that point you're there. But it's so much more tight knit in Euros. It's such a tough competition to win. To then turn around and not qualify for a World Cup 2 years later is incredibly disappointing, to say the least. But so Italian.
Yeah, it was a shock. We'll leave it at that. The best player missing in the tournament, I mean, Erling Haaland, right? It has to be at least the biggest name for sure. Erling Haaland, he's Norwegian. They finished 3rd behind Turkey and Netherlands in their UEFA qualifying. So we will not get to see the machine, whatever, alien, whatever you want to call Erling Haaland, whatever species he is, he will not be in the World Cup. Best odds to win the World Cup according to Caesar Sports book. Brazil has the best odds at plus 450. Then France is second at plus 550. Then England and Argentina both at plus 700. Best odds to win the Golden Boot: Harry Kane, followed by Kylian Mbappe, then Karim Benzema, then Messi and Ronaldo are both at plus 1400. So a few little nuggets for you guys. Still, why are you shaking your head?
There's some numbers I don't like there. As good of a scorer as Harry Kane is, and I believe he flirted with Golden Boot last World Cup. I'm so firmly believing that England isn't going to make a far enough run to put your money on him as the favorite for Golden Boot. So do you
think the Golden Boot winner has to go to what? Would you say the semifinals?
I'd say at least. Like I need them guaranteed.
Obviously, hypothetically, it could be a quarterfinal exit, but you'd have.
I need them like guaranteed to make it to the quarterfinals, though. And like there's just so much England history, and their manager is so questionable that I wouldn't say they're a guarantee. Where Messi is a guarantee, Mbappe is a guarantee. Like I think there's no way either of those teams are out in the round of 16. But it's like, man, especially because he's the favorite. And I have questions about his team even making it to the quarterfinals. That's why it kind of would scare me a little bit. That's why between the 2 favorites, I would put my money on Mbappe. But I guess we'll see. There's a lot more scoring prowess on France to kind of steal those goals from Mbappe possibly, yeah. Where England, it's like Harry Kane's going to have to score like every game for them to make a real run. So there's pros and cons to each. But personally, I'd be taking the guy that I'm pretty confident is making it at least into the quarterfinals. Welcome to Dylan's betting corner.
Yeah. Well, without getting too much into the groups, I think that's all we've really got for the intro. If you want to go read about kind of the World Cup in Qatar, there's lots of controversy surrounding it, how they got it, the stadiums being built, kind of just the whole process has been shady and sad in some ways. Go read up on this World Cup, and it'll kind of give you a good snapshot of how influential soccer is in just the culture of places and the economies of countries, and how it really rules the world in many ways. FIFA has the ability to really determine a lot of good and a lot of bad in the world. So The World Cup is always a positive thing, though. It's always looked on fondly by people across the world. At least the games being played on the field, it's something that brings everybody together. Um, so it's a fantastic spectacle and something that really encapsulates the soccer as a culture instead of just a sport. So we appreciate you guys listening. We hope that you'll continue this episode by listening to our group previews. We're going to get started right here, right now. For me, Reed, that's Dylan up in Michigan. We will talk to y'all later.